Hi, I'm going to tell a story, and you need to listen and try to answer the questions underneath. So, let's start. When I was 17, I passed my university entrance, but I was still too young to go to university because I had to be 18. So, what I did was I went on a trip around the world. The first place I went to was Hong Kong. I took the plane from Heathrow, and as it was a very long flight, there were a couple of stopovers on the way. I think the first place the plane landed was Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, but we were only there for about half an hour. The next place the plane stopped was in Calcutta in India. We stopped there for about 2 hours, and we were allowed into the terminal to stretch our legs and use the facilities, use the loos. After that, the flight took me to Hong Kong. Hong Kong was a really interesting place, full of lights and activity and life. And I stayed with some friends of my parents who had lived there for a long time. I loved Hong Kong with the energy and vibrancy and life of the Orientals. It amazes me how hard they work. No European can compete with that. It makes the Europeans look lazy. Anyway, I spent a week and a half in Hong Kong. While I was there, I visited Macau as well, which is a small Portuguese colony. And I think the major product of Macau is gambling. It's full of casinos. Anyway, after Hong Kong, I flew to Sydney. It was a direct flight. I arrived in Sydney and was met by some relatives of my grandmother. They were very nice people of Dutch origin, whose family had lived there for a long time. They lived in a suburb of Sydney a long way to the north, and it was countryside. It was very nice. A few houses and lots of green. I explored Sydney. Sydney is a city like any other European city. I visited the Opera House. It's a beautiful building in a beautiful location. After that, I decided to go north, and I hitchhiked from Sydney to Brisbane, where I stayed with more relatives. Brisbane was interesting and I enjoyed it, but I think I enjoyed hitchhiking more than the place. Hitchhiking, you get to meet lots of interesting people. From there, I went to Cairns and stayed with yet more relations. Cairns was a lovely place, very hot, subtropical almost. After that, I took the bus back to Sydney, and then I went to a place called Griffith. Griffith is in New South Wales, and it's in the middle of nowhere. Sorry guys, but it is. I worked on a rice farm there for about a month, working on the rice harvest. I was amazed when they drained the rice fields and found that the puddles that were left were full of fish that had grown during the year. That was an interesting experience. After that, I went back to Sydney and flew to Los Angeles. I'm sorry to say, Los Angeles I didn't like very much. It's like a huge urban jungle, and I found it very difficult to locate Los Angeles. It seems to be suburbs everywhere, stretching from the Mexican border to many miles south. Then I went to Oregon. Oregon's beautiful, full of trees and wildlife. The thing that impressed me most were the whales swimming north in the Pacific Ocean. From there, I flew to New York. I had visited New York before and knew what to expect. New York, the Big Apple, full of life, full of diversity of culture. I stayed in New York for a week, and then, having spent all my money, I finally went home. There you are. Now try to answer the questions that are underneath. Good luck. If you have any problems, replay the video. Good luck, and I'll see you soon. Bye!